This is Chck. You are now watching 2SEATER Radio.
Another episode, 2SEATER Radio. Trey Banks, Brandon Lamar. We got a special guest with us today. Somebody I've been kind of like going back and forth with via Instagram for the last like 2-3 years. My guy Chck, designer, creative entrepreneur, futurist. Introduce yourself to the people.
All of it. I'm Chck. Who am I talking to? I'm Chck. I'm 29. I just turned 29 on April 7th. I'm a designer from. Appreciate that. I'm from everywhere, yo. I kind of moved around all my life. I was born in New York, moved to Cote d'Ivoire, which is in the Ivory Coast. It's West Africa. I moved there when I was like 9 months. And then I would come here like on vacation and shit, see my mom, visit. But I was living out there with my grandma. Then I moved to Maryland when I was like 10.
What part of Maryland?
PG.
Okay, hard.
Yeah. So that was kind of like my upbringing in America and shit out there.
Yeah. I think my first time seeing your shit was it might have been through Dizzy. Dizzy, your homie Dizzy.
Get Dizzy.
Yeah, I don't know if it might have just been some kind of service or shit like that, but yeah, talk to us about your like design background, like how you got into it, like what's inspiring and stuff now.
I feel like I've always been into art. I think I started with graphic design and shit, and then I got into fashion. I accidentally took a fucking 3D class in college, and I thought it was gonna be 3D computer shit, but we were actually sculpting shit. We were actually making sculptures and shit. My professor had told me, by hand and shit. So my professor had told me that I'm good with my hands and I should keep practicing shit. So that semester, I just bought a sewing machine and kind of started putting shit together.
What college was that?
It was MC. I was going to MC. Montgomery College.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's in like Highsville?
Yeah.
Oh, hard.
So you talked about you moving around. When did you leave Maryland?
I left Maryland probably when I was like 20 to go to New York. I just wanted to see what shit was like out there, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said,
and this is before you started the brand?
Kinda, yeah. It was kind of before then. But it all kind of happened all at the same time and shit. So I was doing graphic design, and Source Magazine needed a graphic designer, so I had moved out there for that gig. And my uncle hated the shit. He was just like, what are you doing? They're African, so they don't really see this art thing as something that's gonna get you, you know what I'm saying?
They hated art, or they like hated just like the hip hop side of the shit?
Not the hip hop shit,
Oh, okay.
I think it's just them not seeing art as something that can sustain us, you know? Like they want a more serious job that's, you know what I'm saying?
Lawyer, doctor, you type John.
Regular shit.
You was always like just against that?
Yeah, lovely. Yeah, from jump. My grandma told him that I was an artist from jump. Like I was a kid and she was telling him this and I could hear it, but I didn't know what an artist was.
How did New York shape like what you was creating?
I don't think it shaped it in any way because I only went to New York for work. I never experienced New York as in I'm coming out here to, you know what I'm saying? Like this, nah. Like every time I went to New York, because I would go to New York a lot on the weekends, but that's because I had a lot of homies out there that design this shit too, so we would link up and like work on shit. You feel me? So yeah, like if anything, it helped me like discover where to get fabrics and all that shit. You feel me? Like just tapping into different fabrics. Because in Maryland we don't have access to none of that shit. It's like 2 fabric stores that I know of. You know what I'm saying? And you don't find shit in there. It's like grandma shit and Joanne, of course. But niggas had to start there to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you can get familiar with the landscape. Brand had mentioned that he found you through Get Dizzy. I happen to have one, the Mingo hat. Shout out to them boys too. What did the DMV do to like what sides of the DMV inspired you creatively? Was it like the music scene, the fashion scene? Like was it just like the community? You know what I'm saying? I know it was like a go-go or like a party scene. Like was there anything in the DMV that kind of infiltrated your energy towards creativity and fashion?
I think everybody there, because we don't really have much as far as like creatives or creative places to go to. So everyone's kind of trying to make something and trying to make it fun. And DC is like the main place where everybody links up at. So I feel like it's a suit city, and it's a lot of kids that just want to have fun because you see our other friends in other cities doing shit. We want to create that for ourselves too.
Right.
And I think like just not having it made us, you know what I'm saying, go look for it type shit.
I lived out there for like 6 years, and that was one of the things I always said was like, DC is the most DIY city, right? Like it's like y'all don't have the shit, but so everybody, the curators are doing it themselves, the artists doing it themselves, the fashion dudes, they creating their own. Like everybody, it gives you that entrepreneurial mind because there's no infrastructure, so you just kind of like everybody just creatively free balling. But like fire shit come out of that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
There's so much heat in DC. And Maryland too, Maryland, Virginia, all of
DMV, old DMV,
We spoke off camera about just about how like your designs and just like everything that you got going. It's kind of like in the future or just kind of ahead of its time. If people really like they slow to catch up. So how do you remain patient? You know what I'm saying, and not when it's not that immediate like that feedback.
It's kind of frustrating, like just working on collections, and I feel like
when you know that shit is hard. Right?
Yeah, but it's almost like I'm trying to speak a language to people who are gonna catch up to it later, but I'm also trying to get better for myself, you feel me? But my whole thing is I don't even think that I'm different from anybody else. I just don't want to create shit that already exists, you know what I mean? Like I want to add to this shit, like I want to add new perspectives and shit. Like these pants I'm wearing, for example, they're wrinkled because we're used to...
I was going to ask you about the pants at some point through this conversation.
Like, we're used to like ironing our shit. My parents would make me, they would not let me step out the house, you know what I'm saying? Like thinking that that's ugly and shit, but I'm like, who shapes that idea? Like who tells us what looks bad, what looks good, and how we're supposed to present ourselves?
That was the first thing I looked at.
Appreciate it. I just be trying to just question why we live the way we live. You feel me? That's kind of where my design shit come from. So it's not that I'm ahead or anything like that. It's just I'm just trying to look at things from a different perspective instead of just accepting what I'm told. You know what I'm saying? I want to figure shit out for myself.
You sound like you on some like super philosophical shit with just like your creations as far as like everything is you just trying to go against the grain and then make people think like.
Not even go against the grain. I'm just questioning my existence. I think that's what it is because I don't want somebody else to tell me what life is. Like I feel like we're all here to experience it. So I'm trying to kind of figure it out in my own way and shit.
Shit's hard.
You want you to shut up, bro.
So yeah, we do a segment called Shot O'Clock. Whenever we got guests that's down to do it. So if you're down to take a quick shot break with us, you know what I mean? Just to keep, you know what I mean? Just that moment of communion.
I'm with it, G.
Shot O'Clock. You know what I mean? To the future. You know, fuckers catching up this shit. All of that.
So we talk about New York, we talk about Maryland. So what brought you to LA?
My brother Wale actually, Rivers Wells.
Word.
But yeah, so he was moving out here and he wanted to figure out the whole shit with just how to make money in the industry and shit. Cause like I said, we're from Maryland, we don't know nothing about this shit. And it seems like brands kind of fucking make it out here. So we wanted to move closer to it and, you know what I'm saying? Like put our stamp on this shit and figure out how to do it. So, I honestly just followed bro, it was honestly on that type shit, cause we worked together back there, and we met from him trying to do samples. I was trying to do samples, I was doing his samples for a couple seasons and shit, and then we got into getting a studio together in DC, so we became brothers and shit.
You design for Rivers as well?
I do shit, that's my brother, so it's like, my work is his work, we literally work like that. So we share ideas, we literally like the same person and shit.
His name Wale?
No, that's
the other. That's his partner. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, what was the question? I forgot.
Just what brought you to like the area?
To LA, we were just trying to figure this shit out, man. Honestly, so when we moved out here, it felt slow, you feel me, at first. Cause for me especially, like I'm into cut and sew. A lot of brands out here like streetwear. Not saying that the cut and sew brands don't exist.
Your shit, I think you were like one of the first person I seen like that I could like access that was doing like cut and sew shit like early on. Like what brought that on as opposed to just doing like graphics and shit?
Cause that shit's too easy, bro.
Yeah,
Like I said, I do graphic
that's
design
what I'm
and
saying.
shit, so it's like I'm just sitting on the computer clicking shit. It's,
Yeah,
it's just way
so
too
like
easy.
basics,
I
right?
wanted to, I wanted to just elevate that and kind of, you know what I'm saying, like take it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the one that's always going to just ask the bullshit questions. What role do women play in your creations? Do they inspire you at all?
That's not
All
a
the
bullshit
time.
question.
Like I'm just going to throw the
It's not
curveball.
bullshit at all, but yeah, all the time, every single day, I need them.
Yeah.
Yeah, without them, like it's
Said I did it.
it's boring, bro.
So you got like an African heritage. And I know my man that Domingo, he was asking for models. He's like, yo, I want dark skinned women only if you got some shorties for me. And like I know he has an African background.
Yeah.
You do too. Do you kind of like try to put that type of aesthetic into your work, like that real, like a real black, like African based cultural root to like everything you put out from lookbooks or like shit like that?
Yeah. At first, when I first started, I didn't want any, like, you still can't find too many pictures of my face or who I am on the internet. Niggas don't know.
I was gonna say, they be figuring about excusing niggas.
Like, niggas don't know unless they know me personally and shit. But I wanted to do that for a weird reason at first. It was on some, I didn't want white people to, or anyone, to categorize my shit as in it's a black brand. I didn't want to be boxed in.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that box, you feel me? But it's just where I was coming from at the time. I didn't want to come in. That's why I even started cutting and sewing, because I didn't, like, I would go into stores and people would look at me like, oh, you only about to sell us t-shirts, we don't want your tees. But I'm like, no, I literally made everything I'm wearing. So like, let's have an actual conversation, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't just kick me out because you think I'm about to sell you a tee. Nah, it's not that kind of party. And there's nothing wrong with tees, yo. It's just, I just feel like I'm a different artist and I'm sculpting with fabric. That's it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really how I see my shit.
So when you left MC, did you, cause that's an associate's job, that's like a 2-year job. Did you say, all right, I'm done with the college process, or you went somewhere else?
I didn't want to go to school at all, bro. I just did that for my peoples, cause it was to kill time, honestly. I'm gonna come clean. So I was doing that shit, and then I transferred to the Art Institute in Arlington.
Okay.
And I'm sitting in class, and I'm like, bro, I can do like the graphic shit that they're teaching us to do. I finished my work in like 30 minutes, and then I got the rest of the class just sitting there not doing shit. So I'm like, I'm not really learning anything, but I already signed up for this shit, so I'm gonna just keep going. But then I realized, nah, I'm gonna just learn the cut and sew shit. I want to get better at that shit, and I feel like that's way more lucrative, and I could create more. Period. Like, and I'm not gonna be stuck working for somebody.
Associate your own? That's hard, bro.
Yeah. I didn't wanna. I wanted to take classes and all that shit, but niggas didn't have breath.
Nobody,
So
not even like a big homie. Like you were just like, I'm gonna learn this
nah,
shit.
bro. I was in my uncle's crib every day, bro. And this nigga get home at 6, so this nigga was telling me, yo, you can't have like fabrics when I get home around. Like he don't want to see shit because he's not into the shit that I'm doing. And I respect it. It's his crib. You can't do shit. So like, I would try to rush home, fucking cut and sew pieces together and shit. And fucking try to clean up before they get back. And then after that, me and my homie Wale got a studio in DC. And that's when I really started like actually learning to fucking do, you know what I'm saying? Like what we were doing and shit.
I see Brand got the hat on. What would you say is the most successful drop or item that you put out up to this point?
To be honest, I think it's the jewelry. And that's like the latest things that I just added to the collections. And it was just something to add like a little lifestyle aspect to the brand. So I did that, and people started going crazy for the shit. And I guess everybody can relate to shells in a way if you fuck with going to the beach, you know what I'm saying? The ocean and all that shit. It means a lot of different shit.
Is that what you got on right now? It's the shell, okay. All right.
With these joints. So I got that, and I'm trying to get more into like making jewelry and shit too, cause it's like a really interesting, you know what I'm saying, like another art form.
Yeah, I think that's my next step, and just try to accessorize more rings. I don't really be throwing too much extra accessories on my shit, so I think that's like my next step. It's just my whole package. You know what I mean? So, what you do to outside, like when you step outside of fashion, like some people might say beach or museums, like kicking with chicks, watching TV, movies. Like, what you do to step out of that fashion bag to just like look around the world and say, oh, that was hard, and that you might bring back into your space?
I go to the beach a lot. I like water a lot, and that and women, bro. Honestly, that women, food. You know what I'm saying?
Food.
Like, yeah.
Good food, we in that space, right?
Good food and African music.
Okay.
Yeah, that shit keeps my mind on, we're building this for our people. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I keep trying to bring that energy into like whatever I'm doing and shit. Yeah.
It's hard, bro. Shit, bro, we appreciate you just pulling up on us and telling us about your journey, bro. I look forward to seeing everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say, my last question is like, what can we look for next? Now that I'm hip to you, Brandon got me hip to you, the 2SEATER audience about to be paying attention to you.
Yeah.
What is it that we could be looking forward to, you know, say come summer 2021 and beyond?
I'm just dropping new shit, man. I'm not about to stop non-stop. We're going to the top, bro. Like,
To the moon.
man, we're going to the top.
Let everybody know where to follow you at and keep up with everything.
My Instagram is CHCK Studio, and the brand's page is chck.co.co. Yeah, and just follow that and you'll find everything.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, appreciate y'all, man. Thank you, bro. Thank you, man.